Hi guys, Andy N, spoken label, back in the house on a Friday afternoon. It's a Friday afternoon, then it's not. It's a Friday evening. You can tell I'm on one of those days today. Now, we've a bit of a story behind this today. This young gentleman got with us. Now, up where we live in Denton Way, over at Guybridge Theatre, they started a cabaret sort of night up there last Friday, the first one, and it was absolutely tremendous. We went down there just to watch, not to read, and there was a fantastic audience. It was a full house, well, of 60 people, and I bet this young gentleman who got with us today was a fantastic singer-songwriter. He absolutely blew me away, did when I heard him last Friday, and it kind of says it all. That Amanda, obviously the wife, turned around and says to me before he even got onto his second song, Andy, you've got to book him on Spoken Label. This lad's tremendous. Here he is. Now, the gentleman's name, of course, is not Andrew Keevely. That's another story, another day. But we've got Alf Whitby with us today. Now, Alf, obviously, people who don't know you, mate, tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all. I know you've told me, hinted already, like you've not got what is with a Mancunian, Tameside accent, that's for sure. So tell us about where you came from, what led you to Manchester. We'll start from there.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, thanks again for having me, Andy. It's a pleasure to chat with you tonight. It was a pleasure to meet you the other night, and to play the songs. It was a fantastic night. It was brilliant to play in front of so many people, people from the local community, and on such a diverse kind of lineup as well. You know, it was really fun. So yeah, I'm from London originally. So I grew up in kind of West London, a place called Uxbridge, which is kind of on the outskirts, but moved up to Manchester for uni, kind of over 10 years ago now. And loved it here, always kind of loved living here. I thought it was a fantastic city, fantastic place to live. So I stuck around. All my family kind of moved away from London after that. Actually, they moved to Ireland, which is where all my family are from.
Oh, right. So you've got Irish heritage in you as well, then, have you? So right.
Yeah, that's which sometimes I think maybe comes out in the music as well. But yeah, big Irish family, big Catholic Irish family back over there. So yeah, moved over here and been playing music the whole time. Really, you know, I played in bands in London as a teenager, you know, kind of indie cover bands, doing the Kooks and all of that kind of stuff, the Arctic Monkeys.
Oh,
kind of.
Yeah. Without outing myself, I'll let you. There is a funny story about that. I'll have to say it anyway because it is funny. Obviously, with the Arctic Monkeys, people check it. Their first bass player was called Andy Nicholson.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, and people who know me, I'll say I'm going to out myself here, but I don't care. My real name's Andy Nicholson. It's quite funny. When I started putting my own music up on Bandcamp, some years ago, I accidentally put the first single out as Andy Nicholson. I got absolute loads of downloads. I had loads of messages coming through saying, "Oh, Andy, your music's completely changed from the Arctic Monkeys." Groups. I know.
Brilliant. That's a good marketing plan. That, yeah. Maybe I should try and use someone else's name.
What you should do is call yourself Eddie Sheeran.
I don't know Eddie Sheeran.
Anyway.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So yeah, we played in bands that whole time. I was at uni. I joined a band called Easy Kill. You know, we did the Manchester scene quite extensively for kind of 5 years or so. And then towards the end of that, I kind of started doing my own stuff. Was, you know, writing all the time, and decided to start recording. And that's turned into Alf Whitby and what it is today, really.
Yeah, it's fantastic. People wonder about your music. I'd hate using pigeonholes for people, but I know it's been described as a modern day alternative folk singer, but I think you go way beyond that. You're doing the songs you've done. Absolutely, what was two we heard last week, and I've gone for your SoundCloud page before. It's absolutely tremendous. Now,
I appreciate it.
Obviously, we were talking before about some of your influences and that, and people will say this because he's mentioned on your page, like it's. I know we both know you're a big Nick Drake fan, aren't you? So, which I can hear in your songs here. But tell us about you love a Nick Drake, man.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose I do absolutely love Nick Drake. I wouldn't say he's my biggest influence, but I think it's one that definitely comes through a lot, and one that people relate to quite a lot and hear. So yeah, I love Nick Drake. I love all of his albums. We're discussing, what's the favorite one. I think, but between Pink Moon and Five Leaves, it's a toss up. And as we were saying, depending on mood, I think it can flip between them. But yeah, his guitar playing I find incredible. He's, the intricacy and the tonality of what he does and how it changes over the course of the song, I think is fantastic. And his lyrics are just very unique and interesting. I think that's those were the two big kind of draws for me.
Yeah, straight away. It was a one-off, and I think some acts, like obviously the team in the 70s, even the next name was existence, some acts toured all the time, played, and he never did. And I think that added to his mystique on it. And I remember when they finally got out one of his John Peel sessions a couple of years ago. I was only crying during it because you hear the songs done in a different way. It's really quite unusual.
I actually heard that he was really frustrating to see live because he would be tuning for half the show. He'd just spend so much time, and he wouldn't like engage with you.
Yeah,
he wouldn't.
I heard the same.
So amazing when he's playing, but I suppose he's an interesting character in that way.
Completely. What was the music do you like listening to then? Does the people know?
Yeah, so I mean that folky side definitely is a big thing for me. So Joni Mitchell and people like that, Dylan and that kind of side of things. But yeah, definitely a lot of indie music. Interpol, Radiohead, that kind of thing was definitely defined my kind of late teens. I had a dance phase, during uni where it was all about electronic music and. I think a lot of people do, obviously, but I still find that really interesting to integrate some of that into my music when I can. So if I can get some synth in, if I can get some electronic sounding drums or do some sampling, I think that's a really fun thing to do and a fun way to.
Love doing it myself, and I know exactly what you mean. I like sometimes just going on stage and you have the audience sat there thinking, what's he going to do next? And that I think adds to the fun behind it, definitely, with that said. So, but anyway, obviously, about yourself, and obviously, well, I hear say we talk about your new single, aren't we? True to Form. So tell us about your new single and True to Form, which I've got to say, I thought was tremendous. I really did.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate it. So, True to Form was born. It's a couple of years ago now. It was kind of. I suppose it was just before the pandemic. Maybe I started writing the music. I mean, the lyrics came about after actually watching. I don't know if you saw. I can't remember which Winter Olympics it was. I'm guessing it was the last one. And there was a Russian skater that she was only a kid, like super young, maybe 14, 15. She had a nightmare on the ice anyway. Kept falling over all this stuff, and she looked like really shook up and everything. And she was coming off the ice, and her coach was shouting at her and stuff. And it was just awful. But I kind of started thinking about the pressure that these kids and just sports people and performers in general just to get put under. And I thought it's quite an interesting thing to explore and something that use that metaphor and use the sporting kind of metaphor to apply to also what I do and see where I can take it with that. So that was kind of the basis of the song. The pressures that go with having to be absolutely on point at that one moment and all the prep that goes into that one moment or where you need to execute, and if it doesn't happen for you, the effect that can have. So that was the how the lyrics came about, and you'll hear through it, references to ice and dancing and all that kind of stuff. So the music came about. A lot of the music was written and sort of demoed in the Isle of Skye.
Whoa!
Yeah. yeah. So I took a bit of an artist retreat up to the Isle of Skye, packed up my studio, drove up there and borrowed my mate's drums, set it all up in this old coal shed, which was the cheapest accommodation I could find. It was like,
Wow.
it was the depths of winter.
Wow. How long were you there for then?
So I was there for, I think, 8 days, which was fantastic. It was great. I had such a nice experience, and during that time, I wrote the bones of most of the song, demoed it out, and the drums that you hear on the track now were recorded there. So they've got this really interesting, because it was just a stone kind of building. And it was like wonky, and it had a really low ceiling. Had a really nice tonality to the drums, I thought, and really nice character, which was really cool. I also added to that, I recorded the drums with only 4 mics, because that was all I had with me. So it was
just typical.
It was, but I was just super happy with how they sounded. So that was what went in, and really pleased with how it turned out.
No, it's a fantastic single, really is, with that one. So, and obviously, if people were seeing you live, obviously, I saw you the other week. It was just you and your guitar. But I know at the moment you've had a slight change in approach, haven't you? So, at least in your single launch, and unfortunately, this podcast is coming out just after that. So, tell us about then what's made you want to have a band backing you now then.
Yeah, so this is the first time we're having a full 5-piece band on the night, which is exciting. I think True to Form was kind of one of the drivers, actually, because it's such a bass and drum driven song. I thought I could never perform that live without those aspects. So I started thinking about it. I knew I wanted to do kind of a Saturday night gig. So I haven't done one of those in a while, and I knew I wanted to do a headline gig. Started thinking about how I can make it happen, and then luckily the people that I reached out to do it were keen, and we've had 2 practices so far. To be honest, we've got one on Monday as well, but we don't really need it. I've got amazing musicians playing, and they have just slotted in so nicely. Added so much character, added their musicality, and added parts all over the place that really just enhance it. So the songs have become something I never kind of thought they would be, which has been really, really nice to listen to. And hopefully we'll do it again sometime. So I play with 2 girls normally now. So they're Georgie and Hazel are their names, but they're a duo themselves. They're called Watson and Lockett. They play around Manchester. You should definitely go check them out if anyone wants to listen to this. And they're amazing. And they normally play with me. And they kind of they're multi-instrumentalists. I call them proper musicians, because they can read music and know everything about that side of things, which I don't, to be honest. I can't read music. I don't know music theory very well at all. I just kind of go off gut feel. So yeah, they've been with me for a couple of years now, doing this thing, and it's nice to have Jack on the bass. Jack actually produced True to Form, so he's a producer himself. So he mixed it, and then Alex on the drums is someone that I actually knew him from home in London, and we always played in bands together. So. It's a really great group. Very pleased and privileged to have them all playing with me.
Brilliant, great stuff. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to ask you now to start wrapping up now, obviously. But there's a couple of things I always like asking people. Obviously, now, when's the single out, first of all, just so people know? Even though this podcast goes out after it.
That's right. So the single comes out on Friday, the 27th of January. And the single launch gig is on Saturday, the 28th of January.
Brilliant. And what plans do you have next then after that one?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, in honesty. I put a lot into so this is the 3rd single of kind of a trio of singles, and I've put a lot into them, and I put a lot into this gig. So I've been kind of laser focused on making sure that these have the biggest splash and the biggest impact as I possibly can. get as many people hearing it as possible. So I haven't really been thinking about the future too much. I'm always writing. I'm always have that side of things. There's some interesting stuff I think I still want to do in music. So it's just whatever form that takes. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's best. That's the best way of putting it. I can't ask you, is there an album on the way? Obviously, it will reveal itself as it always does. I'm a firm believer, definitely. So now, obviously, to wrap up this part, then obviously, if people want to find out more about you, where do you recommend they go?
So I have a website with a mailing list, which is the best way, I'd say. I keep I send out the odd email on that, which is really good for me, and I hope good for people receiving. But I'm also I'm on Spotify, I'm on Instagram, and those two are the main ones probably I would go looking.
Brilliant. Okay. What we'll then do is wrap up this part, mate, and when you come back, I'll explain what happens next. Okay, just so people know, it's good. It's one of those ones where you might have to actually go into the audio version to get the extra bits on this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Listen, mate, it's been a pleasure. So hang around, everybody. We should go right back in 2 shakes of the bless.